organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, find out what sentence a judge handed down in the first-degree murder case of an Iowa City landlord.
And more details about the stabbing that disrupted downtown Iowa City early Sunday morning.
And in sports, Hyde, Vandenberg, and Davis to the league.
We're breaking it down in just a little bit.
All that and much more is coming your way next.
Daily Iowan TV is just getting started.
I'm Tom Brokaw. For more than 100 years now, the University of Iowa community has been waking up to the Daily Iowan. Today, it's the largest newsroom in eastern Iowa. And now you can see the news every night on Daily Iowan TV and get it anytime worldwide at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for tuning into your Sunday edition of Daily Iowan TV. I'm Christina Targos.
And I'm Anna Theodosis. Iowa City police are investigating a stabbing that occurred early Sunday morning in downtown Iowa City. According to a city press release, Iowa City police officers responded to a report of two males who had been stabbed near the intersection of Dubuque and Washington Streets at 1:57 a.m. The two males were taken to the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics for treatment, the release said. The suspect is described as a short Asian male wearing a red USA jersey. The case is still under investigation, and anyone with information is encouraged to contact authorities.
22-year-old Justin Marshall was sentenced to life in prison on Friday for the 2009 murder of Iowa City landlord John Forsyth. He was found guilty on February 7th. Courtney White is the third person charged in the case. On Friday, White pleaded guilty to tampering with a witness with maximum sentence of 2 years. Charles Thompson was the first suspect in this case until this trial ended in a mistrial due to a mistake made by the prosecution. Thompson later pleaded guilty to accessory to a felony and signed a document stating he knew Marshall killed Forsyth. At his sentencing on Friday, Marshall continued to claim his innocence, but said he was sympathetic for the Forsyth family. He said, quote, "I don't know who did this," he said. "I know what it's like to lose someone you love. Justice was not served upon this case." Several of Marshall's former inmates from Muscatine County Jail testified that Marshall had admitted to killing Forsyth and that he was hoping to plead guilty for a lesser charge.
The UI Student Gardeners and Landscaping Services have received a grant to develop an orchard. Daily Iowan TV reporter Shyla Knott has the scoop.
Students, university staff, and community members were hard at work Friday and Saturday as they planted a new orchard. What was once parceled land is now an orchard home to 39 young fruit and nut tree species. The trees will start to bear fruit in about 4 to 5 years. The University of Iowa Gardeners and Landscape Services received a grant for $1,500 from the State of Iowa Department of Natural Resources to plant the orchard. Many of the UI students agreed that the orchard would not have been possible without the hand of Andy Dahl.
I would like for this to be a learning lab, so we can actually, teach people how to, we may have a pruning day, or as we add more trees, so they can learn how to plant the trees, how to care for them, so they can do it at home. I mean, in my opinion, the University of Iowa shouldn't just be all about business or medicine. We have a responsibility to teach people a wide variety of topics, and one of those is planting trees.
A lot of kids that are coming up in 2013 and growing up now don't have the exposure to fresh food that's just picked off the vine. It might be in the grocery store, but how do they know that it doesn't grow in the grocery store? It comes from the land. So I think it's important to really keep that as a part of the community.
Everything that is harvested is sold to the Iowa Memorial Union and Burge Residence Hall. Dahl mentioned that historic apples like the Sir Isaac Newton and the original Hawkeye Delicious have also been grafted and would like to see those varieties incorporated into the orchard's expansion. Shyla Knott, Daily Iowan TV.
UI Student Gardeners said they hope their efforts bring greater awareness of sustainable practices on a local level.
It's never too early to start learning about wise money usage. Midwest One Bank and 4-H held an event Saturday to teach younger generations about how they can practice safe spending. First through fifth graders and their parents gathered at the Iowa Children's Museum to participate in the Money Smart for Kids workshop and other hands-on activities that were designed to help children learn about saving money and wise spending. One of the activities asked the children to go grocery shopping on a budget, challenging them to buy only necessities. The event was free, and the companies hope to hold a similar event in the future to continue promoting financial literacy at a young age. The owner of the illegally constructed building that collapsed in Bangladesh and killed 377 people was found Sunday. Mohammed Sohail Rana was captured after he tried to flee to India. The city announced Rana's capture through a loudspeaker, which created cheers from those awaiting justice to be served. Many of the people killed were clothing factory workers in the building that was known as the Rana Plaza. When we come back, we'll show you a little bit of sun, and a lot of paint raised money for children diagnosed with lung diseases.
And in sports, spring game analysis from Kinnick Stadium.
But speaking of sun, let's check in with Daily Iowan TV's Mary LaPlaca for the weather. Mary?
Thanks, Christina. It's been a beautiful day in Iowa City, but enjoy it now as we are in for some rain showers later in the week. But first, tomorrow will start off at 54 degrees and partly cloudy. The day will reach to 64 degrees and will have a 40% chance of thunderstorms. It will be a warm night as it will reach to 73 degrees. Looking into the rest of the week, we'll have a treat for Tuesday and Wednesday as we get into the low 80s. This will be the first time we've hit 80 degrees since the start of spring. Thursday will cool down to a high of 50 degrees with a 70% chance of rain. Friday will continue those rain showers with a 70% chance of rain and a high of 59 degrees. Saturday will end the week fairly nice at 63 degrees and a 50% chance of rain. That's all the weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Mary. Sunday's beautiful weather made outdoor Iowa City a very busy place. In fact, things got quite colorful Sunday afternoon in Hubbard Park when the Associated Iowa Honor Students Organization held a paint war. The event featured an obstacle course and a slip and slide, covered completely in paint. All of the proceeds went towards the Children's Foundation, which helps guide, educate, and support families with children who have been diagnosed with certain lung diseases. The motto of Sunday's event encouraged participants to paint wild, paint together, and watch their backs.
Daily Iowan reporter Brent Griffiths had the opportunity to shadow outgoing Iowa Senator Tom Harkin over spring break and has since worked on a story to be published in Monday's edition of the Daily Iowan. Daily Iowan TV reporter Logan Edwards spoke with Brent to find out what we can expect.
Thanks, guys. I'm here in the Daily Iowan newsroom with reporter Brent Griffiths, and he has a profile on Iowa Senator Tom Harkin coming out tomorrow. So I understand that you went and followed around Senator Harkin for a day over spring break. How was that experience?
It was really interesting. You can see the variety in his day. From the morning when he starts out, every Wednesday is a breakfast with his constituents, to the afternoon where he goes through the book at a local elementary school. And of course his work as a senator as well on the Senate floor working on legislation. It was interesting seeing the variety that he has in his day.
So you obviously got to spend a great amount of time with him. What's the most interesting thing that you found out about him?
I really love the popcorn machine he has in his office. Everything from the oil he uses to make it to the kernel seeding machine itself is from Iowa. He's just obsessed with popcorn, so I thought that was a really interesting aspect.
Wow, that's really cool. Well, make sure to pick up a copy tomorrow of Monday's edition of the Daily Iowan to see more about the profile.
Well, it sure was a busy weekend for the Hawkeye Athletics. Let's revisit the Daily Iowan TV sports studio where Annie and Alicia are standing by.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Daily Iowan TV Sports Studio.
We're doubling up on this edition of the program. Alongside Annie Costable, I'm Alicia Denyes.
Unfamiliar territory has become a theme for the University of Iowa football program since the turn of the calendar year. A plague of player transfers and a number of coaching departures have put Captain Kirk and his crew in an interesting spot this spring.
3 of Ferentz's top players were under that same cloud of uncertainty over a programming break. For the first time in, a long time, a member of the black and gold being drafted was not a sure thing heading into the weekend. But after 5 rounds of anxiously waiting for a name to be called, fans of the black and gold finally got their wish, with the Green Bay Packers selecting defensive back Micah Hyde with the 159th pick of the NFL draft. It wasn't the senior swan song that Hyde would have expected after spending his first year on campus as a member of the 2009 Orange Bowl championship Hawkeye team. Wins were harder to come by for the Ohio native the longer he stayed in Iowa City, but his impact as one of the Big Ten's premier defensive backs didn't go unnoticed in his final year with the Black and Gold. Hyde was honored with the Tatum Woodson Award at the end of this past season, an award received annually by the conference's top defensive back.
Hyde wasn't the only Hawk that NFL teams took a flyer on. Seniors Keenan Davis and James Vandenberg were both picked up as free agents after the conclusion of Saturday's draft. Vandenberg, a 6'3", 212-pound Keokuk, Iowa native, threw for just under 6,000 yards in his time on Iowa's campus.
That's right, Annie. The Hawks signal caller found the end zone 35 times in his 2 seasons as a Black and Gold starter while throwing 20 interceptions. Vandenberg did struggle in his senior campaign and was the subject of much of the criticism that surrounded the team in 2012.
Keenan Davis will be traveling the farthest to his new home. The Cleveland Browns acquired the playmaker just a few hours after the draft and will be looking for Cedar Rapids native to compete for a job this fall. Davis may have more upside than any of Cleveland's actual draft picks, Alicia. Multiple NFL scouting reports rated the 6'3" receiver a better pro than college player.
You know, that makes sense, Annie. Davis was one of the highest rated players in the country when head coach Kirk Ferentz landed him as a recruit during his 14-year tenure with the school. While Davis, Vandenberg, and Hyde were learning what was in store for their futures, over a programming break, the future of the Iowa football team was on display in Kinnick Stadium over the weekend.
The hometown Black and Gold put on a show for the fans in 2012, changing the format of the game to something more fan-friendly. We were on the field for the showcase and have the full report.
A new year and possibly new traditions for this Hawkeye football squad. Fans came out to Kinnick Stadium yesterday afternoon eager to see an actual game being played. Head coach Kirk Ferentz pitted the defense against the offense in yesterday's showing. And after a hard-fought battle, there's still questions to be answered.
What's the latest on the quarterbacks?
Probably about what it was earlier, clearly cloudy, and, we didn't really plan on making any decisions coming out of today. And, you have to look at the tape and all that. But I think all of them are doing some good things. All of them have things to work on, and, we'll try to address those things moving forward.
The annual spring game marks the end of the spring season for the Iowa Hawkeye football squad, and the question still remains as to who will be the starting quarterback come fall. Keeping it on the offensive side of the field, after losing Coach Campbell, the wide receivers core hasn't seemed to skip a beat. Team leader Jordan Cotton speaks on the new relationship with Coach Kennedy.
We're used to having Coach Soup around, but, just like anything, it's just like a job. People move on and go for better opportunities, so you just have to go with it. It was fun, to have Coach Kennedy here with us. He makes our job a lot easier. We can relax and have fun. It's like we're like a big family. It's fun.
At the end of 4 quarters, the offense walked away with a 61-37 win over the defense. Coach Ferentz assures, though, that this Hawkeye team is nowhere near finished. Annie Costable, Daily Iowan TV Sports.
And one last note before we get out of here. It's official. The Big Ten realignment shuffle continues.
Yeah, that's right, Annie. After voting this Sunday, the league's president and chancellors approved what will be a 9-game conference season in 2016 and an East and West Division shift set for 2014.
The shift coincides with the debut seasons for the Big Ten's newest additions, Rutgers and Maryland.
A whole lot more coming tomorrow. Unfortunately, that's going to do it for us here in the studio.
Yeah, Alicia, big Monday show on tap with baseball, softball, NCAA golf, and Drake relay coverage all on the schedule.
You can catch that same time, same place tomorrow. But for now, it's back to you at the desk.
Thanks, guys. And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek into the pages of Monday's edition of the Daily Iowan. Find out more about the American Farm Bureau proposal that will be taken into consideration by Congress.
Plus, don't miss photos from this weekend's campus and city events online at dailyiowan.com.
That's your latest edition of Daily Iowan TV. Be sure to check us out tomorrow or anytime online at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for watching and have a great night.